David. Welcome to the David Wells Experiment. I'm your host, David Wells. It's going to be a brief episode today. I feel like I say that all the time, and it rarely is it ever that brief. I think it's successful when I keep it 13 minutes. That's what I consider to be brief. And oddly enough, my most successful podcast so far has been 38 minutes, if you can believe that. Maybe it's for people who have a long drive they need to entertain themselves with. Who knows? But anyway, I'm grateful for whatever attention this video gets. Oh, a special shout out to my listeners, Marcus, Tracy, and Adam. If you're listening to this, thank you for your patronage. It means a lot. Anyway, so yeah, I was on my phone the other day just doing my usual getting out of bed, seeing what's up, scrolling, and I saw this video, had the actress Brenda Song in it, and I'm like, you ever have those moments where you see footage and you think for a second that it's CG that just looks really real, but then you find out that it's like, oh no, that's just real footage. It's just that CG and motion capture and everything has gotten so good to the point that you'll mistake even real life footage for fake. Well, I saw footage of her the other day in an ad for something. I'm like, oh wow, that looks almost like fake footage that looks real. And then I kept watching it. I'm like, something is interesting. I'm like, is it real footage? And so I looked at it again and I kept rewatching the ad. And then I saw some logos and it said something like PS4, Xbox, Switch. And it was for a game called The Quarry or Quarry. And I was flabbergasted because it turns out it was CG. It was so realistic looking that it looked like real footage that I would mistake for being fake because of how realistic fake looking footage can look these days. I don't know if that makes sense, but I was just impressed by it. So I'm going to look into that game. I know absolutely nothing about it. This is just what I've gotten from just seeing that one ad. I was impressed by it. It's called Quarry. It's got Brenda Song in it. Know nothing of the mechanics or what genre of game it is, but I'm curious to do some research on it. It's funny, my cat, I'm recording this podcast in my car right now because I feel like he was a bit yappy today. I tried to record it earlier in the morning, but even with my AI removing the background noise, I feel like he would have made it a bit more homework for my machine than it would need to be. Anyway, so my cat, he's an outdoor cat. He got on the car, he got bored, and then he went to another neighbor's like truck, and then he just plopped himself under. He's like, "Yeah, I'm gonna chill here." Anyway, so, oh gosh, I think I did that thing where I like scratched my leg too much, and now there's like a little bit of blood. They're like, why are you telling us this? Well, yeah. Oh, what a day. So it's funny. I had a really interesting connection the other day with like a guest. Well, it wasn't yesterday, it was the day before. So anyway, it was getting late into the evening. I think I was maybe an hour or two away from the end of my shift. And I just have an eye for detail. One of my ways that I connect with guests or try to strike up a conversation is I'm just really good at picking up details from the corner of my eye. And the strangest thing happened the other day. I was like looking at him saying, your order will be out shortly. And I glanced and I saw what music was playing on their radio, because these days, it'll show you what song is playing and then it'll have artwork. and I saw they were playing music from like the Godzilla soundtrack, like the score, and that's something that I listen to, or like I'll listen to stuff like that. I'll listen to movie scores, and I say something to the effect of, "Are you listening to a movie score like the Godzilla theme?" And she's like, "Oh yeah," and I'm like, "Oh wow, I listen to that kind of stuff." So it's surprising to see that somebody else does, because I feel it's such an idiosyncratic interest. And she said something like, "Oh yeah, well, my son's autistic and he loves that song. He will listen to it on repeat all the time." And so this piqued my interest even more. And she said he's an artist and that's his jam. Not that verbatim, but something to that effect. My cat's walking back up to me. He pretty much waits for me to come back home. Anyway, so I'm like, "So like Mothra's theme, blah, Mothra's theme, right?" And she's like, "Oh yeah, I know that one." I'm like, "Let me double check." So I pulled out my phone, and I even mentioned the composer, Akira Ifukube, and she knew who that dude was because of how much her son listened to that. And like, so I play it for her, and she's like, "Yes, I recognize that song. He loves that." And it was this weird moment of connection with one of my guests where, like, I thought something that was so particular to me and somebody else, you know, shared the same experience. I mean, as far as I know, I'm not on the spectrum, or I don't have any form of autism. People have had their suspicions about me, but I've never gotten tested. Um, I've just had people wonder, but I don't know. It was one of those things where I was like, I know I felt seen by this kid, like my existence acknowledged in a very interesting way. And because I've had moments where, like, I've just had a rough day and I've listened to that song just to melt my stress away. And at the when they got all their stuff and they drove away, I kind of had to fight back. You know, I was getting choked up, and I had to kind of keep my composure for like at least the next 30 minutes. But yeah, it was an interesting experience. I didn't expect that. It's funny right now, speaking of my work, I found out that I can stay in the heat for like a long time, even when I don't have to be. Because last night I was just talking with my brother, picking up from work, and he's like, "Can you crank up the AC?" He's like, "I don't know how you don't crank up the AC as soon as you get out of work." And I'm like, "Oh yeah, I guess because I'm in the heat all day, it just doesn't occur to me to adjust it." And then this morning, I was driving him to work, and we were like 80% of the way there. He's like, "Hey, can you turn the AC on?" I'm like, "Oh, sure." But anyway, yeah, it was one of those things where it just didn't even calculate. So so in addition to doing this podcast, I'm gonna try to open an Etsy account. Um, yeah, I'm surprised by what things sell when it would be like just as easy to grab some screen capture an image and make it on something. There are people who want like legit options. So I'm thinking, I've had some financial difficulties recently, and I feel like my mind is burning all cylinders trying to think of like options that I could make money with, but also like don't violate any personal core beliefs. So it's a challenge. Back in the day, I used to just be able to work 66 hours a week, but they really don't want us to do that now. So, yeah. Plus, I don't know if I could do that again. I could do it 8 years ago. even a couple years ago, I could still do that. But I don't know if they'll allow us. And I can't help but wonder if it's God's way of saying you got to change it up a bit. The tactics have to be restructured. Anyway, so I messaged one of my brothers. He's got a Sony A6100. Hey, can I borrow this to take some pictures? But I was thinking, I wonder if I can take pictures on my iPhone 11 Pro Max and sell them on Etsy. I wonder if it has the kind of fidelity that would be marketable. But anyway, yeah, that's what's happened recently. And I feel like I've got other things to talk about, but at the time, nothing comes to mind, as Kip from Napoleon Dynamite would say. Lol. Well, anyway, this has been a very, very brief episode of the David Wells experiment. Hope you have an absolutely super day. I hope you are seen. And yes, have a good one. We'll see you next time. Bye.